A little while ago, I did a video where I put the Lark Mark II up against the DJI Mic Mini, and the M2 came out on top. Now you might have tried these microphones, and you might have had a different experience, and that's fine, that's cool. But for me and what I'm doing, the M2 was just a better fit. Now the Mic Mini is a great microphone, it's just not better for me. So now I'm putting the M2 up against the M2S. Kinda.
Dang, is that you?
So I actually like both of these mics more than I like the Mic Mini. In fact, I tested the Mic Mini to see if it could replace the M2 for me, and I ended up returning it the next week.
Give me my damn money back right now, and I don't have no damn receipt.
I decided to keep the M2, and I'm moving really slow selling the M2S, because it's a really cool, really small, really great little microphone. Looking at it, it's obvious that it's meant to mimic a lavalier microphone without the wires tying you down and holding you back. The M2 plays in the world with the rest of the wireless microphones, where you can attach it magnetically, you can clip it, or you can hang it from a lanyard. The M2S is a little bit more limited in application than the M2, but I don't think these two were meant to compete, and I don't think the M2S was supposed to be an upgrade from the M2. With that being said, let's look at some different and more creative ways that the M2S can be used while we compare these two microphones. And for the record, I would rather use the M2S. It's smaller, it's lighter, it's easier to use, it's quicker to set up, the case is better, the windscreen is better, it's got fewer moving parts, the list goes on. The advantage that the M2 has is that it can be used in so many ways. I might not always want to clip the mic, and with the M2S, that's my only option. Or is it? Like I said before, both mics sound great, but the way I've been using the M2S, it's been right under my chin, and that affects the way the sound is received. Even though it's an omnidirectional microphone, the mic capsule does make a difference in the way sound is received. And I don't want to have this argument in the comments. The mic placement does make a difference in sound, even though it is an omnidirectional microphone. So I have it here now. I have the M2S placed right here, right under my chin, next to my throat, touching my throat. So of course it's going to sound different. Even though it's an omnidirectional microphone, it's going to sound different here than it does here. You're going to get a clearer sound. It's less bassy, less punchy, but it's a clearer sound. The omnidirectional pattern does, it can be impeded by physical things like my chin, for example, or the vibration from my throat. So you bring it down, the sound is going to be received differently than if it was up here. Another example, if I'm talking right here, it's going to sound very, very different. So it's getting the full range of sound right straight directly to the mic. Whereas if you bring it here, it's going to sound different. Here's going to sound different. Here's going to sound different. It's an omnidirectional microphone, which means it picks up sound in all directions. It doesn't mean it picks up the same sound in all directions, no matter what's impeding the sound. Okay? No arguments. So with the M2's microphone pointing straight up, it receives the sound clearer. I usually wear t-shirts, but where the M2S would really shine is if I was wearing a button down or a button up shirt. It brings the mic further down your chest and receives the sound unimpeded. The M2 has an advantage here. You can place it pretty much anywhere you want. So let's say for some reason, I want to hide the microphone altogether. With the M2, I can do this no problem. There's almost no limit to the places you can get with this little microphone. It's all going to come down to how creative you really want to be. The M2S can be used anywhere there's an edge thin enough for it to clip onto. Mainly collars and plackets where the buttons go. That's about it. Now while that does present a limitation, it's up to you to be creative and work around it. For example, you could use your watch band or the brim of your hat. And if you're really feeling creative, you can use the edge of a book. And we already know about the visor, right? I've also wondered about this lanyard. It looks like it will work perfectly, but I don't know how all the movement will work since you can't stabilize it without the help of a magnet. With the M2, you can use the lanyard by attaching the transmitter to the magnet. If there's too much movement, you can use that same magnet to stabilize the mic to the shirt. I guess this is more for people who are recording workouts or other active content. And I know this isn't the most practical of uses for the M2S, but I think it looks kind of cool. And I've been curious to see exactly how the M2S will perform if it was used this way. Now, usually I don't talk during my workouts because I like to be able to breathe, but let me show you what I mean when I say movement could be an issue. So simply running in place, just like a simple in-home workout you might do, the way the mic moves, I'm pretty sure it's impossible to hear anything that I'm saying right now. Or if you can hear it, it probably sounds pretty bad. And you're fighting through all the movement and contact the microphone is making. And then also, the move we all love the most, the burpees. Every time I go down, the microphone hits the ground. And that's gonna create a whole lot of problems. Now, with the M2, with the magnet behind the shirt, you have that extra measure of stability. So as much as you move the shirt, I'm sure there's some movement there and you can hear it, but it allows you to move, but the mic to stay more or less stationary in one place. So if you were to do the same exercises, you're running in place. I don't know how it sounds, and it probably doesn't sound the best. I wouldn't expect it to be great, but it's not bouncing all over the place. It's not making crazy contact. And if you want to do burpees, every time you hit the ground or every time you go down, you're not necessarily striking the ground with the microphone. I don't even know why I'm doing this. I'm not no fitness influencer. Now, the outdoor test is almost a waste of time. It's already been proven that both of these mics sound amazing, but it does give me the chance to talk about the M2's big ass wind muff. It's no secret, I've been documenting, I'm on record saying that I hate the wind muff for the M2. And I mean it. Every time I say it, I mean it. I think I mean it even more now. It's like the M2 is almost a perfect microphone, a perfect wireless microphone. And they just went and did that. Like, why is it so big? Anyway, the wind's blowing right now. The wind must perform pretty well, the both of them. So not much of a test to be done. They've proven to work. They've been proven to both work pretty well. So I'll take them off and we'll get a full comparison of how they sound with and without the wind muffs. All right, so here it is without the wind muffs. So you can see how good of a job the wind muffs were actually doing in reducing wind and keeping the sound clean. And here it is with noise cancellation to see if that makes any difference at all. Okay, so noise cancellation is on. Did that make a difference? Maybe, maybe not. I doubt it now, the wind's really getting it. So we'll try it again with noise cancellation and the wind muffs, and then we'll get out of here. Because that'll be good enough for me in my test, because I've been out here testing these mics for so long. It feels like so long. And here's how we sound with noise cancellation and the wind muffs on. So it should be a pretty clean, wind-free sound, but I know that there's a muddy, robotic sound that also comes into play whenever you use noise cancellation with these wireless mics. My advice, at least what I'm gonna do, is I'm never gonna use noise cancellation if I can help it in any way. And I'll just do it in post, even though I don't want to edit. So hopefully I don't put myself in a situation where I need to use noise cancellation. And so far, so good. I haven't had to use it at all. And I don't edit sound whenever I use one of these wireless microphones. So that's the whole point of it for me. I want it to sound as good as possible right out the box with no editing, no help. So I can just smooth out my workflow. I don't want to spend more time on these things than I have to. Because when I do my filmmaking, that's where I spend my time. I spend a lot of time editing audio, editing video, large, super large files. But when I do these YouTube videos or vlogs, I want to make it as quick and easy, painless, seamless as possible. So I think that's good enough for the outdoor test. Got a pretty fair test and comparison of the M2 and the M2S. Now the M2S app is a definite upgrade from the M2. Along with the noise cancellation and volume control you get with the M2 within the Lark Sound app, in the same app, the M2S also offers mono and stereo recording where you can record each mic to its own track. You can turn the lights on or off on the transmitters, and you have custom functions like self-locking, muting, and mic recognition. So the point of this video wasn't so much to put these microphones against each other. It's more so to show the different uses of each microphone. Like I said, and like I'll keep saying, both of these mics are great. They're both pretty awesome. It just depends on what you plan to do with the microphone, how you plan to use it. That's going to determine which one is right for you. For me, I still don't know. If somebody wants to buy the M2S, I'll sell it to them because I have found so many uses for the M2. But until then, I think I'll be using both of them. And over time, I'll see which one is better, or if I just end up keeping both of them, maybe. Anyway, hopefully I was able to give you an idea that you hadn't thought of before, or maybe showing you something that you hadn't seen before, and it's something that you can go on and use in your own filmmaking or content creation, whatever it may be that you're into. If you did like this video or you found it useful, you might like this video where I put the M2 and the M2S against the DJI Mic 1 and Mic 2, or this video where I put the Hollyland Lark M2 against the DJI Mic Mini. Until next time, peace.
Dang, is that you?